The air in the holding cell was cool and carried the faint, sterile scent of ozone. The man sat on the plain bench, his posture relaxed despite the intimidating surroundings. The walls shimmered with a soft, contained energy, a hallmark of advanced alien dampening fields. He had been here before, in similar cells across 3 different species vessels. Bureaucracy, it seemed, was a universal constant. The door dissolved with a quiet hum, and 2 guards entered. They were tall, bipedal, with iridescent chitinous plating and multifaceted eyes that gleamed under the ambient light. They did not speak, merely gesturing with long, graceful limbs. He stood, offering a polite, closed-lipped smile that was not returned, and followed them into the heart of the ship. He was led to a chamber that was less a throne room, and more a biological command nexus. Organic-looking consoles pulsed with soft light, and data streams flowed like liquid across curved surfaces. In the center, seated upon a form-fitting structure that seemed grown rather than built, was the Queen Dot. She was magnificent. Her chitin was a deep, royal violet, etched with patterns of silver that sparkled like captured starlight. A delicate crest swept back from her brow, and her large, luminous eyes held a depth of intelligence that was immediately apparent. She regarded him with an expression he had learned to read as calm authority mixed with mild exasperation. Human. Her voice was a complex melody, translated flawlessly by the implant behind his ear. You are identified as a freelance logistical consultant. Your record with the Concorde is colorful. Yet it states here you caused a significant disturbance in the Gamma Serpentis trade-out. Explain. He clasped his hands behind his back. Your Majesty. A simple misunderstanding regarding docking protocol and local wildlife. One of the attendants at her side chirped, a stream of data appearing in the air. The Queen's antennae twitched. You attempted to register a Class 4 Moravian swarm beast as a service animal to bypass exozoological quarantine fees. Mr. Snuffles is very well behaved, the man said, his tone earnest. And the fee was exorbitant. I was providing a civil protest. Your protest involved the creature consuming the Port Magistrate's official hover scooter, the Queen stated, her melodic voice dry. It was made of a polymer he found delicious. I offered to pay for a replacement. The magistrate was unreasonable. He was hospitalized for stress, the Queen countered. She leaned forward slightly, her multifaceted eyes reflecting his image 100 times over. Your species has a talent for finding the seams in our systems and pulling until they unravel. It is disruptive. It is chaotic. I am inclined to remand you to Concorde authorities for the full term of your violation. He nodded, accepting the potential outcome. I understand, Your Majesty. Though, if I may, the regulation I am accused of breaching, Concorde Statute 45B, subsection 12, was amended 6 standard cycles ago following the Kell arbitration. The subsection regarding non-sentient companion fauna was reclassified. The port's posted ordinances were outdated. Technically, my paperwork was in order. A profound silence filled the chamber. The attendants froze. The Queen went utterly still. After a long moment, she made a subtle gesture. One of the attendants accessed a floating data panel, their limbs moving rapidly. Another chirp, this one subdued. The Queen's gaze never left him. You are correct, she said, a new note in her voice. The magistrate was in error. The charges are invalid. I am grateful for your diligence, Your Majesty. Do not be, she said, though the earlier sternness had softened into something more like curiosity. This does not address the scooter. A civil matter, as I said. I have already transferred credits to the port's restitution fund. The receipt is in my file. She consulted the data again. It is. She settled back into her seat, studying him with an intensity that felt different from before. You come into our space with your flexible morality, and your unsettling calm. And you not only know our laws better than our own officials, you abide by them to the letter, while creating absolute bedlam in the spirit. Why? He finally unclasped his hands, spreading them slightly. The letter of the law is a shield, Your Majesty. The spirit is often a weapon used by those in power. I prefer a good shield. And I find bedlam is often just a new pattern others haven't recognized yet. A low, harmonic hum came from the Queen. It was, he realized, the equivalent of a thoughtful sigh. You are a perplexing organism. Your file says you resolved the Scifistory mining dispute by introducing a competitive game involving throwing rocks. It was a structured sporting league. It gave the rival clans a non-violent outlet for their aggression. Productivity increased by 300%, and you ended the Tarspian water conflict by teaching them to make tea. Herbal infusions. Diplomacy works better with a warm beverage. It's a human thing. The Queen fell silent again, the silver patterns on her carapace shimmering as she breathed. She dismissed the attendants with a flick of her wrist. The energy in the room shifted, becoming more personal, less imperial. You operate alone, she stated. I do. Simpler that way. It is a lonely way to traverse the stars. It has its moments. She stood, descending from her dais with a graceful, fluid motion. She was taller than him, her presence both regal and suddenly oddly approachable. She stopped a few feet away, her large eyes scanning his face, as if trying to map the thoughts behind it. Your actions, while unorthodox, show a deep understanding of systems, she said, her voice lower. A talent for seeing connections others miss. My own advisors are proficient, but they think in straight lines. They lack creativity. The very creativity you wield like a tool. Sometimes a problem needs a wrench. Sometimes it needs a song, he offered. Precisely. She took another step closer. The sterile ozone scent was now mingled with something else, a faint, spicy aroma like cinnamon and stardust. A mind like yours is a rarity. It is disruptive, yes, but disruption can be a catalyst for growth, for evolution. My people have become static in our efficiency. We have forgotten how to think in curves. He remained still, unsure of where this was leading, but captivated by her earnestness. The discipline you were due is rescinded, she said. Her tone formal again, but her eyes held a light that had not been there before. You are free to go. Your ship will be released, and your companion, Mr. Snuffles, will be returned to you with our apologies for the dietary inconvenience. Thank you, Your Majesty. Your judgment is as fair as it is wise. She inclined her head, then seemed to hesitate. The regal authority faltered for a heartbeat, replaced by something remarkably, undeniably human-like in its vulnerability. She looked at him, this chaotic, calm, rule-bending human, and the melodic voice, when she next spoke, was barely above a whisper. It is a pity, she said, the words hanging in the air between them. A pity, Your Majesty, that I must conduct myself with the decorum my station requires, she said. Her antennae dipped slightly. The discipline was a pretext. I wish to see the mind behind the file. It is more impressive in person. He felt a smile touch his lips, a genuine one this time. The feeling is mutual. She took a final step, closing the distance completely. She looked down at him, and in that moment, she was not the all-powerful queen of a star-spanning hive, but an individual, brilliant and isolated by her own excellence. If your circumstances were different, she said, her voice a soft, melodic confession, if you were not bound by your solitary path, I would give you my digits. He understood the meaning. In her culture, to offer one's private communication frequencies, one's digits, was an act of profound personal trust and interest. It was an invitation, not from a queen to a subject, But from one intellect to another, he held her gaze, the moment stretching, thick with potential and weighted with reality. "The offer," he said, choosing his words with more care than he had used on any legal statute, "is a greater honor than any I have received in all my travels. To connect with a mind of such clarity and grace, it is a compelling prospect." Hope, a fragile and beautiful thing, flickered in her luminous eyes. "But," he continued softly, "my path is my own by choice. The chaos I spin, the systems I navigate, they require a freedom that even the most generous bond would inevitably constrain. And you, your people need their queen. They need your undivided focus. A connection like the one you suggest would be a vulnerability your rivals could exploit. It would not be fair to you, or to them." The hope did not vanish, but it transformed into a deep, respectful understanding. She had known, of course. She had seen the same conclusion in the patterns. But she had chosen to offer anyway. That was the staggering part. "You see the systems to the end," she whispered, admiration clear in her tone. "As do you?" he replied. She nodded. Stepping back, the mantle of sovereignty settling around her once more. But her eyes remained warm. "Then go, human. Continue your journey. Bend the rules where they need bending. Teach creatures to play games and warlords to drink tea." He bowed, not a bow of submission, but one of deep respect between equals. "Thank you, Your Majesty." As he turned to leave, her voice called out one last time, "Freelance logistical consultant." He paused, looking back. "Should your path ever bring you back to this sector," she said, and now her tone held a hint of her old, imperious humor, "and should you have need of a consultant on local royal decrees, my public channel is listed in the Galactic D.